Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, pluribuses, and so much more. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge, and with me is Roxy Stryer.
What's up, DJ?
I need to do. I've always wanted to get like a. We had a soundboard that was Roxy Stryer for a while, but I
Pew,
want
pew,
to
pew,
get like an audience track, like cheering, clapping, da 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 da. The whole thing. And I just haven't taken the time.
I know.
To do it.
I do. There's different versions of the show that I do miss. When we were in person, that was cool. Remember that studio we used to film at by that coffee shop that I loved?
Every time, it's such a weird thing to have nostalgia for, but the every time like I pass a Subway, because when we were in that studio, within walking distance was a Chipotle and a Subway and a Fresh Brothers, and so it was one of those three, and it's like, yeah, I miss that. I miss walking
bring that
out.
like banana bread from the coffee shop and sit there and eat it. Yeah.
It felt so official. It felt like it felt so cool and like we had like a real thing going.
And then you guys would have me play game. I'll never forget this one game. I reference it all the time where I would make a burger.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, we were doing. I was just talking with somebody the other day. We were talking about how I was talking to somebody that went to TwitchCon. And I've always, every once in a while, I think like, man, should I get into the Twitch game? And I know Twitch is more than video games. But I feel like my easiest in would be I do game.
Yeah.
My gaming schedule is less rigid now that I have a child. And also, gaming is one of the few interests I have that I have not monetized. I could just, that's just a me thing. And it's hard for me to let that go. It's like, no, this is just for me.
Yeah, that's difficult. And yet, everyone needs money.
So. Well, and I wonder if that's where would I do well there. And but I think it's another thing that I'd be coming too late. I feel like I should have I should have hopped in there sooner.
I also do just like split second thought, but I think it will be easier for AI to take that job than an opinionated job. Because AI is going to be better gamers than all the gamers. I don't know.
You're not wrong. Wait, so anybody that's listening, if you would like to watch live, you can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. That's one of our tiers. You can also get exclusive content. So the lower tier, you get exclusive content like What We're Into or Krypton Academy, those shows. At the higher tier, you get to watch live. And in the live chat, we have Coffney. Coffney, tell me how you want that, because it could be KOFNY or CoffNY or Coffney. So let me know your preferred pronunciation. Twitch is a mess. A lot of people are starting to leave. Maybe YouTube streaming. That sounds classic me. I'm going to show up right as everybody's leaving. I'm going to be like, hey, guys, I'm here. Guess what, guys? I'm on TikTok. Oh, TikTok's going away? Cool. It's being... I don't need to get up in the whole TikTok mess of who's buying it and all that noise.
Oh,
boy. Enter Lenman says, challenge accepted. I'll beat the AI. Well, good luck, because a lot of chess masters have failed that one.
I miss Twitter so bad.
When it was Twitter? When it was legit Twitter? Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Twitter so bad. I just miss it so bad, DJ. Quick aside, I have a friend who has a car wash, and it was back east, and it was raided by ICE, and everybody was ripped from their families, and it came down to the president of this Republican club at BU is the one who called ICE, and he said, I called ICE every single day for 3 months on this place, which is like an amazing thing to admit out loud.
Yeah.
Get a life. But I was like, I saw the article on Twitter. Well, first I sent it to my family because we're very invested in this because we feel horrible for our friends, and everybody. But I sent the article on Twitter, so I'm ready to go see this guy get roasted, DJ. Because I'm like, let's see it. Let him have it. X is not for me. X is not for me. I looked at the comments. The comments were like, this is downright un-American that people are upset with him. He was doing his civil duty. This is where and I was like, No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, like, I used to love that app so much. Obviously, that's not the biggest issue of the story, but it used
Yeah.
to be so cool, like, to be able to see what my friends and colleagues thought about things and connect with different creators and talk about movies and opinions of things, and now it's just every comment that I read is so vicious
Yeah.
and so against everything I stand for that I'm like, I guess I should get off of it too.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the social media, one of the there's good and there's bad, but one of the bad things was allowed people access to more famous and successful people. But the reverse was also true. Those more famous, successful people got to know what people thought of them, and some of that wasn't nice, and they decided no, we can't have that. So now I have to buy this platform, and everybody has to be. I'm going to incentivize people to be nice to me and the values I have, because that's what a public square is for, right? For a rich guy to own the public square, so people can only say nice things about them.
Apparently, the answer to that is yes, but like, can just
Also, don't love that there's like a secret police that right-wing dipshits can just call and sick on people that they don't like.
and
Don't.
pick
I'm
on
not.
people that they don't like. Did they? I'm sorry. Did they not wash your car well?
I don't.
That every day for 3 months. Every day for 3 months. That's what you did with your time.
Well,
Wow.
Coffney followed up with.
Imagine dating that person.
I
Like,
don't. I don't. I would imagine he doesn't get a lot of dates. I would imagine
that would be the
what
worst
I suspect.
personality type on planet Earth. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Coffney followed up. It was King of New York, LOL, but for some reason, YouTube changed the names to tags. Any name is good for me. All right, King of New York. That's a good movie, by the way.
Okay, of NY.
Yeah, King of New York. That's a good movie, starring a very young Larry Fishburne, if I'm remembering the right film. Let's get into comment. I know. My son has a molar coming in, so he's been a little fussier than normal. But fortunately, my wife is taking care of him right now, so he's in good hands. Yeah, he's in good hands right now. Let's read some comments. This first one is from Spotify. You guys can leave comments on YouTube and on Spotify as well. Yeshu Wazalewski says, and this is from a previous episode where we were talking about Welcome to Derry. While I did like the first episode of Welcome to Derry, it wasn't a show that I decided to watch week to week. I'm not caught up. The third episode just dropped, and
the best episode, DJ.
I know, but my wife and I had to watch the Pluribuses.
That's better.
Yeah, so much is. So much is. Robert Goyette says Cronenberg. So we had a question that was, if you had a Stephen King somebody that directed a Stephen King adaptation that you give a superhero movie, and I think like some equivalent of vice versa. So Robert Goyette says Cronenberg directed my favorite King movie, The Dead Zone. So I'll go with him doing Swamp Thing. Cronenberg Swamp Thing would be incredible. And superhero director I'd like to see do a King adaptation is Patty Jenkins, considering she did Monster 2. That's really interesting range that it kind of fits with King. Maybe Rose Madder. Oh, is that a King? I'm sorry, King's written many things, and I don't know if that's one of them. Roxy, I have a question.
Monster TV show
off the same subject.
An Island Woodley some show, yeah.
We love it. We love serial killers. I don't know how to feel about that, Roxy. I don't know. Our obsession with serial killers, I feel like, is not great. But I'm not going to pass judgment.
But I just can't stop.
Yeah. Because there's that new one. What is it? Ed Gein, the guy from Sons of Anarchy, Charlie Hunnam. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. Roxy, let me ask you about this, because this came up in a conversation I had the other day. What if James Gunn had Patty Jenkins come back to do the new Wonder Woman, whoever the new Wonder Woman is? How would you feel about that?
I'd actually be super into that, just because I love Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it should or will be Gal Gadot. So yeah. I don't think that would be the team up, but I think that Patty is a great director.
Yeah.
How would you feel?
I think it'd be interesting. I think and here's the thing. recency bias. This movie's not the most recent one, but is the one I most recently watched for Retroversity, which we do on my personal channel, DJ Talks Trash. We just watched the first Wonder Woman, and that first Wonder Woman still rips.
Yeah,
so good. And so when you're watching that one, you're like, yeah. But I haven't rewatched ever since you and I discussed it during the pandemic. I have not revisited 1984.
Me neither. I'm actually concerned because I don't think it's going to hold up well.
Yeah, I remember not hating it as much as other people at the time. But now enough time's passed, it's like I can't imagine. And it's a part of a weird trilogy of the 3 movies that gave, I'll say me, but I feel like a lot of people hope for the DCU, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, then had sequels that all were real stinkers. and so it'll be interesting in Retroversity when we get to those to see like how we feel about them in hindsight. But
I'll also say this. I would rather see Patty take on a different property.
Yeah.
I'd rather them say, have her do the Flash or something else. I don't know what her knowledge is for which DC characters, but I think she's a really great director. We already saw an excellent Wonder Woman movie of hers. It'd be cool to have her involved in the DC in a different area.
It'd also be cool to see her do a non-IP thing. And I don't know if that would be something that would be interesting to her, because I would imagine it would be less money. But
well, Monster was a non-IP thing.
But that's when she's getting her start.
You're
right.
Now,
so she might be in a space in her career where it's, you don't want to take a step back. And I don't know if she would consider it that or not.
Because of like, what is she doing? Narnia? Is that her thing?
No, that's Greta Gerwig.
What's Patty do? Oh, she was going to do Star Wars?
She was going to do Star Wars. And of course, who knows if that's ever going to happen. So that's why I'm kind of saying, like, listen, whatever's going on with DC, whatever's going on with Lucasfilm, go do your own thing. Go plant your flag again outside of these studio stuff. BlackRock says, silly tone. This is a comment that I found elements of it. Welcome to Derry. Silly tone. I didn't get that from the series so far. And it's an important point that I didn't mention. Something being scary, I think in movies, being scary and being funny are 2 of the most subjective things of whether you find something scary or funny. So comedies and horror movies are in some ways really tricky because what one person finds scary, they might not affect another person. So it's
yeah. You and I talked about this last time because I also said that's not how it struck me, but that happens all the time where somebody thinks something's a little sillier. I just watched Scream 3, which hasn't come out yet.
My least favorite Scream.
But a lot of people said that it was really goofy or funny, and I actually didn't find it to be that way at all. So I was like, huh.
It does have one of my favorite jokes because it's a joke that really only works in the 90s. There's a moment, I'm trying to remember when it happens, but there's a moment when there's a kill. And for people that don't know, I think Scream 3 is one of the most meta because they're making the Stab movies, which are the Scream movies within the universe of Scream. And so it's a bunch of Hollywood types, and they all run out, and they're all like, the joke is they all have cell phones, and that's the joke is like, isn't it crazy how these Hollywood types all have cell phones? And now it's like, well, that's not a joke, that's just reality. That's everybody now.
Man, I don't think there's been a bad Scream movie, but that's a conversation for a different time.
I think the Scream movie's solid. I think the weakest is Scream 3. But I think the Scream movies as a franchise so far been very solid.
While we're reading comments, my favorite comment maybe of all time is Mike Joyce in the chat said, Twitter is still usable. And Leonard Kim said, Twitter is still usable the same way a used condom is still usable.
Yeah.
Leonard, that sent me.
Yeah.
I guess you could do it, but it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. Yeah, I'm off there. I'm thinking about it's still there. My Twitter's still there, but it's locked. I'm thinking about just deleting it because they keep changing settings, and it's like I don't want to give.
I still use it, but to me it's really not usable anymore because it's not enjoyable at all, and I can't connect. Once I lost my verification and couldn't use it to network with the people that I need to book for things, that was a huge hit. And then once I couldn't use it, so that was a career hit. And then I can't use it for enjoyment now because it's not enjoyable. So then what purpose is it?
Yeah. I agree.
You have to check it every day. multiple times. I'd open it
I know.
multiple times a day. Now it's like once a week, if that.
Yeah, I almost never go on. I'm pretty much exclusively Blue Sky, and I'll stop on Threads. Threads reminds me the most of old Twitter, and not in a good way. Where it's like every time you walk, it's like walking through a room in mid-argument where everybody's shouting at each other. You're like, all right, well, bye, everybody. I don't need to be here. Last comment from Panda Go Crazy. DJ and Roxy, gotta say, after watching Predator Badlands, I wish they released Prey in theaters. Would have been the highest grossing Predator movie, and I think it's better than the original. Badlands is cool, though just a little too cute. And if you guys want to know my opinions on Predator Badlands, you should check out patreon.com/stupid what we're into. We're talking about it over there. Roxy, you haven't seen the new Predator movie, correct?
I haven't seen a Predator movie.
That's right. You need to let them know over at Real Rejects. Get you started on that.
I know. They already covered it, so we'd have to do it again. But
You and I will do it for our channel.
I hear that the franchise is bomb. Like
they're
no,
like a lot of them, and you've experienced this with the horror movies. There's some real good ones and some real stinkers. Some real stinkers in there too.
DJ, never forget that I sat through 7 Wrong Turn movies.
I mean, you'll get better than that, but better than that. But there's some Predator 2 and The Predator, in my opinion, are real stinky. All righty. I'm going to give a quick shout out to our charity of the month. This month's charity is Feeding America. Millions of Americans are struggling with food insecurity due to President Trump and Republicans' refusal to ensure that SNAP benefits are fully funded through the government shutdown. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks and pantries helps make healthy food easier to access, helps families feel financially secure, and supports laws that make food available to everyone. Feeding America invests 98% of all cash and non-cash donations directly into programs and services that help millions of people facing hunger. Also, reach out to food banks in your area and see how you can help them support your local community through this crisis. Now back to the show. Also, I wanted to take a quick second to thank everybody that helped back the Graveyard Shift. This campaign was a little bit more touch and go than my previous ones, so I really appreciate everybody that did show up, backed it, supported it. It funded. It's happening. I think it's going to be super cool, and I think the people that are grabbing it are really going to love it. Stay tuned because a pre-order store will open up for people that missed the campaign that can still grab a copy of a comic, but it wouldn't be happening with all the people that came and supported the Kickstarter. So thank you to everybody that did that. Now on to news. So Roxy, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news.
Okay.
What do you want to start with?
I feel like the bad news should come first.
Okay, we're going to start with the bad news. Unfortunately, Poker Face.
So I don't know what's going on here, and I'm scared.
So unfortunately, the Natasha Lyonne starring show Poker Face, created by Ryan Johnson, that's been on Peacock. Peacock has decided they're not going to renew it for a 3rd season. And Roxy, I'm just going to read to you this article from Deadline because it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Okay, wait, pausing you before you read it.
Yeah.
It is one of their most watched shows.
It is. Okay. That's true. That is true. that is truth. Okay, so Peacock's not moving forward. But series creator Ryan Johnson and his producing teams is shopping around a new version of the show. They're looking for another 2-season commitment. And here's the weird part, Roxy. This new 2-season order, if they got picked up, would feature Peter Dinklage playing Charlie Cale, playing the same detective character that's able to tell when people are lying.
Wait, what's going on, DJ? What?
Yeah. So Deadline confirmed the plan and got the statement from Johnson and Leone, the latter of which is staying on as a producer. Quote, "We've been germinating this next move together since writing the season 2 finale. We love our Poker Face, and this is the perfect way to keep it rolling. Give us a beat, and we may just see Charlie Cale again down the open highway." And as you mentioned, it is their Peacock's most watched show, but it's also apparently expensive, and the ratings were down from the first season, despite critical raves and Emmy nominations. This article points out, then again, costs are comparable to other shows with similar cast and quality. Long-term, Johnson's hope is for the franchise to evolve with a new actor to play the lead character every 2 years.
So this is like Doctor Who?
I guess, except Doctor Who has a mechanic built into the show of why that happens. It's not just, here's a new person. Like there's an explanation.
What would the explanation here be?
I don't know that
She had to get like total reconstructive surgery because she was on the run and now looks like Peter Dinklage.
But I guess I don't. I'm assuming this is Ryan Johnson likes his little tricks, likes to be a little tricky little guy, and oh, this is thanks King of New York for the update. I'll bring that up in a second. We just got some big Man of Tomorrow news. Yeah, I have no idea. So let's assume this. You're sitting down. Picture it, Roxy. You're sitting down. You're gonna watch Poker Face season 3. And it opens, and it's just like, no, it's Peter. It's just, there's no explanation. It's just Peter Dinklage is Charlie Cale now, on the road or on the run, and can tell when people lie. Does that grab you, or does that turn you off from the show a little bit?
Here's the thing. This has nothing to do with Peter Dinklage because I like Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
No issues with Peter Dinklage, at least none that I know of.
Yes.
Poker Face isn't that unique. I love Natasha Lyonne. That is why I love the show, is because I love her. And she's a great lead for the show.
Yeah.
I talk about that every week that we talk about the show. Like, this show works because she is super enjoyable to watch and just makes really interesting choices. Yeah, I'm looking at this Deadline article. It's like, it says, if it hasn't been made clear if Tony Toast will continue as showrunner, or whether bringing in a new attempted overhaul, but this is Johnson's baby, and he'll do as much writing and directing as he needs in order to keep it going. Johnson's been obsessed with truth-telling since Ana de Armas played the lead opposite Daniel Craig in Knives Out, a woman who projectile vomited every time she tried to lie. Poker Face did not have those great expectorations. I don't know that word. What's expectorations? But was designed as a Columbo-like murder mystery of the week. So, first of all, this being Ryan Johnson's baby is kind of hysterical. Like, you have a lot of babies then, which is fine. Some people do. Second of all, that them like not pinning this on Natasha Lyonne, but you guys are like, the views aren't good, so we need to change it out to Peter Dinklage. Is it possible that would help? This is such a weird move to me. I love this show. I'm really bummed she's not going to be our Charlie.
Yeah, I like Peter Dinklage a lot. I actually think Peter Dinklage would make a great Charlie Cale. I think that's just weird. It's a weird to change midstream, especially like you don't cast a new Columbo 2 seasons into Columbo. That's not how Columbo works. You know what I mean?
Or you do it one season. Like, that was already the plan, and every season we follow a new person who has a special skill.
Yeah. That's built into that.
The same special skill is also going to be like, they kind of need to switch out what the special skill is. It can't be the lying thing anymore.
Well, I mean, or like you said, it could be that lying ability, but a different person has it. But no, it's the same character. That's weird. Okay, so this apparently is just breaking now, and it'll segue into our next piece of news. So I guess this was yesterday. Oh. That's interesting. The Wrap posted an article that says Superman and Lex Luthor will team up against the uber villain Brainiac in Man of Tomorrow. The Wrap has exclusively learned. Now, Roxy, as I go through this article, I don't see where it says how they learned it. So I don't know how much faith I should put into this.
After The Wrap reported it, IGN and AV Club picked it up, but I don't see, and so did Collider, Screen Rant, but I don't see THR, Variety, or Deadline.
And I don't see an explanation of where that info. It's not like an insider told us. It's so we'll see. We'll see. But that makes the most sense. I mean, like we've
been saying this. I mean, on the script that James Gunn posted, there was a literal big brain.
Yeah, that could be Lex Luthor's big brain. We don't know for sure. We'll see. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I do think it makes sense if you're going to have somebody Lex Luthor and Superman team up against somebody. Brainiac makes a good choice. Although I will say, Roxy, we have a long history of Superman sequels that we're supposed to get with Brainiac
I
that don't
know.
happen. Superman Returns sequel was supposed to be Brainiac. Man of Steel sequel was supposed to be Brainiac. So I'll believe it when it happens.
I kind of don't think James Gunn would have put a brain on it. He knows that. I
Yeah.
think that if it was Lex's big brain, that would have been such an odd move. But I do remember, they do a pretty good job of keeping things under wraps and not posting about things that they don't want released yet.
Yeah.
And if James Gunn hasn't posted this, that means that either it's not true or he doesn't want it out there yet.
Yeah. And I would imagine they might be sitting on the Brainiac reveal when they have an actor. And that's a tough one. Roxy, do you have like a go-to actor that you think would be good as Brainiac?
Huh. That's so funny. Usually I have a dream cast, but I haven't really thought about who I think. Let me think about it. Do you have one?
I do, because I have, shocker, I have thought about it. I went down this rabbit hole because I think there's choices that I would see as obvious. Like I mentioned on the show before, I've been rewatching Better Call Saul, and Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Gus. It's like, that seems like a no-brainer. But it's not because of the no-brainer aspect of it. It feels less interesting to me.
I've heard his name. Probably his name and Mads Mikkelsen's names are the two names that come up the most.
Mads would be good. That would actually be really good. Not necessarily, but again, not necessarily surprising, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know back in the day with Tim Burton's Superman Lives, it was supposed to be Christopher Walken. And back then that would have been incredible. That would have been so cool. And I guess Christopher Walken could still do it, but it's not like Brainiac's doing kickflips and shit. But the one that would, keeping it in the Severance family, I think the choice that would be interesting to me is Tremel Tillman. I think would be I think he would make some very interesting choices with Brainiac, because
That's
I
a
think
cool call. Yeah.
the thing you need to figure out, that I would want to figure out, is how robotic is Brainiac, right? And it's a question I have a lot with, especially now we have a lot of media with like robots in it. And this is something that comes up in Superman, because one of the opening bits of Superman is he's being wheeled in by his Superman robots. And Alan Tudyk is like, we don't have any emotions. And then immediately another one sees Superman looking at him, and she's like, oh, he looked at me. It's like, well, she just displayed an emotion. What do you mean you guys don't have emotions? And so I think with Brainiac, you have similar questions of like, how much of a machine is he? And even if you said he is like Data in Star Trek, he is a machine, right? Tremel Tillman, I think, could still use that and do interesting things with that. Because as we talked about with the most recent Mission Impossible, he's in it for like 5 seconds. And he's a character. He's like a stock paranoid political thriller. He's a submarine captain. We've seen a billion of these guys.
But he's so good.
But he makes really interesting choices in it, and it makes him one of the he pops, So that would be my pick.
There's a lot of dream casting online for Lee Pace. I'm seeing Michael C. Hall's name a lot, which I think would be actually really interesting.
Yeah, and especially he's not. I guess he's doing the new Dexter reboot.
Yeah. Somebody Slash Film said in their top 5 Dave Bautista, which I don't see.
Wow. I mean, they did a bit with Brainiac not too long ago where he's jacked. Not that David Bautista is specifically has to do that, but his body is what it is. He's a big guy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Ray Fiennes pitches.
Oh yeah, obviously, if he'd be down to do it, yeah, of course. Of course.
Stanfield's on Screen Rant's list, which I think is kind of a bizarre one. I don't see that necessarily, but I do love him.
Yeah.
David Dastmalchian's on their list, which would be interesting as well.
He'd be cool.
Jason Isaacs is on Screen Rant's list.
Yeah.
Giancarlo, like you said. James McAvoy, who I think would absolutely crush. Daniel Kaluuya. That would be an interesting choice as well.
Yeah, a lot of interesting choices. Ray Fiennes, it's another safe one, but he's great. It'd just be a question of like, he hasn't really done, since Harry Potter, he hasn't really done a lot of franchise stuff. And I guess 28 years later, but that's kind of a different.
Yeah, what I think is cool is that a lot of the general public has nothing to compare this to, so you can really try to make this your own.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's why I think that people are casting in such a wide age range and type, because there's so many directions you could go. And this would be a really, really fun opportunity for an actor to solidify a huge character.
Yeah, it's because weirdly, I would argue, I don't know if this is true to non-comics people, but like Brainiac is one of Superman's most iconic enemies,
Sure.
up there with Lex Luthor, and we've never gotten him
Right.
on in live action. It'd be like if the Penguin had never been adapted, and you're like, what are we doing? Like, of course, yeah, like get him on the screen, you know?
Yeah, and then you could kind of make the Penguin your own. But now, if you are the Penguin, people are like, "What's better, Danny DeVito or and
Or
now of
yeah,
course Colin Farrell or Colin Farrell."
yeah,
But just this is like you can really do your thing.
yeah. Interesting. Well, keeping it in the Man of Tomorrow wheelhouse, and the Superman wheelhouse, THR reported that Skyler Gisondo is getting his own spinoff as Jimmy Olsen, and it's being brought to us by Dan Pearl and Tony Yacenda, who created the award-winning mockumentary American Vandal. Roxy, have you watched American Vandals?
Of course, I have.
It's hilarious.
Amazing. I was gonna say, DJ, if you haven't seen it, you'd love it.
It's hilarious. It's so good. And when I was reading it, I think they also, I can't remember the name, but I guess there was also a mockumentary football show that they created, which made me think like, oh, could this be in the same format? That actually really works for Jimmy. Like, could you imagine like The Office, but the Daily Planet, and we're following Jimmy Olsen? It's like, that's a show. You got a show there.
Yeah, yeah. This is a bit of news that I was not expecting, DJ. I'm really interested to know what your thoughts are on this.
Very excited, super excited, because the second Skyler Gizondo's Jimmy showed up on screen, he felt very similar to, there was a recent run by Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, that was very tonally similar to that. And so going out of, I'm like, well, yeah, to me, that's as much of a slam dunk, and it still baffles me that we haven't done it, as a Zoe Kravitz Catwoman show. It's like, of course, that's the next thing. Of course, that's on the table.
Yeah.
And having people that created such a good comedy show before, it's like, well, I'm in. I'm sold. I'm on board.
I have to tell you, I have very similar feelings to you on this, DJ, and I was a little surprised to find out that a lot of people don't share similar feelings. No,
Really?
number one, I think if you've seen that show, then you're like, these people do things well and funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and tonally, do I think that the Jimmy Olsen show is going to be as like ludicrous as American Vandal is? No. But do I trust the creators with him? Yeah, I do. I also loved his character in Superman, and I really want to see more of that. And I think what is a really smart decision that studios don't often do is seeing what works and then giving us things that work. So
Yeah.
I feel like they had no idea they were going to do this before Superman came out. Superman came out. Jimmy was well received. They're looking at their slate. They're looking at television. They're looking at the future. And they were like, oh, this could be this is a good level of character to have a television show about that kind
Absolutely.
of sidebars. So for those reasons, I'm really excited. What I'm a tad bit nervous about is with this potential acquisition on the line and with...
Don't talk about it.
I know, I'm sorry. But okay, backing up from that for a second, I have a huge issue with the way that Marvel has handled television.
Yeah.
I'm a TV junkie, as you know, and I like Marvel a lot.
Yeah.
But giving us one season of this, two seasons of this, no idea what the future is for this, a spin-off of this, things that are so wonky that when you list them out on paper, it's like, how could these have been the shows that we got? And what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I'm concerned about doing a Jimmy show and not knowing what are our shows. Like, we know Lanterns, we know one season of Jimmy. I kind of want a better idea because, like movies, television deserves a slate. It deserves a plan. And not just like, maybe this, see if it works. And of course, if something's not working, you pivot. But I kind of want to know what DC's television plan is. We knew what it was for 10 years. We knew it was the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
We lived the Arrowverse. What was DC's plan that whole time? Well, other than having a couple of things like Watchmen, it was CW TV, and it got better once we merged Supergirl with it.
Yeah.
Supergirl, Arrow, Legends, Flash, Black Lightning.
Yep.
Need I say more? Lois, Superman and Lois. That was the plan,
Yeah.
and it worked. Whether
Yeah.
you loved it or did, it worked. It was cohesive. So I love this idea. It does make me a little nervous that I don't have a bigger picture.
Yeah, I do understand that. I think as far as the show itself, like obviously we got some time with the other Daily Planet staffers in the movie. We got Kat, we got Steve Lombard. Ron Troop is meant. We see Ron Troop. I don't think he gets a single line of dialogue in the movie. And so with those established,
Eve.
Yeah, well, you're right, Eve. There's no reason why Eve shouldn't be able to show up in this. That's a great point. There's so much, and if you look at Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, that run I mentioned, it gets pretty wacky. Jimmy tends to get in pretty wacky adventures. In this one, apparently, they say in this article, TH article, the concept centers on Olsen, as well as other Daily Planet reporters, minus Lois and Clark, who tackle cases involving superpowered villains. Gorilla Grodd will apparently be the spotlight for the first season. I think I'm trying to remember. I think Gorilla Grodd factors into the Fraction run, so they might just be directly pulling from that.
That's interesting because I've been sitting here wondering why the F they're doing that.
The only thing that makes me nervous about that is that, I don't want to steal from Flash's coffers a little bit, because I'm still hoping for.
That's what I'm saying.
The DCU Flash, and I'm totally on board with go full wacky comedy with Jimmy Olsen, and because a part of, and I think I didn't read a lot of Jimmy Olsen Silver Age comics, but whenever I read people like Grant Morrison or Matt Fraction pulling from that era, it's like, look at all the wacky bullshit Jimmy gets up to in the margins of Superman stories. I'm on board for all of that. I don't want to make Grodd a joke, because Grodd's a pretty cool villain that I want to see Flash go up with a bigger budget with an HBO budget as opposed to a CW budget. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Like, I just think that's a wonky call to take the Flash villain that's arguably the most expensive.
Yeah.
And give it to Jimmy. Like, it's unnecessary. So
could we get could this be our backdoor? Like, Flash shows up for an episode of this and like, here's our DCU Flash.
I mean, it is possible that they do that, just in the same way that they think that we might get Batman at the end of Clayface. Like, I guess it's possible. I don't think either of those things will happen, but yeah, I'm not going to knock the Grodd thing. I love Grodd. And I actually loved our CW Grodd. I thought,
agreed.
But that makes sense. You have a show called Flash for 10 years. You're not going to not have Grodd. So we went through every villain on that show.
Do you think we will not see any Clark and Lois?
No, I do think we will. I do think we will.
At least a brief cameo. I agree with you, just because it's a little different than our Pats in Penguin, because Robert Pattinson's Robert Pattinson. And obviously David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan stars on the rise, but like, I don't think they're above showing up for an episode of a TV. I mean, Nicholas Hoult was in Peacemaker. Spoilers for Peacemaker.
Rachel comes from television, and I think has a lot of love and respect for it. Not to mention they didn't state this, but I'm assuming this is going to be an HBO show.
Yes, true. Good point. I assumed as well. Yes.
So do I think it's like too lowbrow for David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan to do an episode of a HBO show? No, I certainly do not. I think and also they seem so stoked about this universe, and they seem so close with Gunn. I think there's kind of no way, not that Gunn is running, but you know what I mean? Like, if Gunn's like, this is the plan, I think they'll pop over. Do I think they'd be in more than one episode? Probably not. Rachel, maybe two. But no, I think that's the cool part about having one person in charge of everything, or two, Safran and Gunn. There's through lines to these things. The main criticism that I saw, DJ, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, were that people were like, how are you going to announce a Jimmy show before you announce what you're doing with Wonder Woman? How are you going to announce a Jimmy show before we know what we're doing with the Flash? How are you going to announce a Jimmy show before we have our XY Aquaman, whatever? How do you feel about that argument?
Sure. I mean, I think that's still thinking along the terms of what Marvel did for so long. But you all have to, I would say, Marvel obviously made big splashes by calling their shots and then delivering. And then recently they called their shots and then they weren't able to deliver. And then DC had a long history of calling their shots and then not delivering. And so I think James Gunn's doing the smart thing of like, I don't call my shot until I'm ready to make the shot. We have a Jimmy. We like this Jimmy. We have stories to pull from for this Jimmy. Why not? We got great creators on board to do a Jimmy show. When I was watching Superman, I was like, yeah, I would watch a Jimmy show. I like this Daily Planet cast. I like this Jimmy. There's this Jimmy Olsen run that I think would be great to pull from. But if you ask me, Roxy, like who should turn on it? I don't know. The American Vandal guys, perfect. That's perfect. Like you can't think of a better team to tackle this. So it's like, yeah, you have that. You're not going to call your Wonder Woman until you have until you've cracked it, until you figured it out. You and I talked a little bit about last week about Batman. They've got a whole thing. Are we committing to there being a separate Batman than the Matt Reeves Batman? How do we differentiate them? How are we they have a whole thing they have to figure out with Batman. No, dude, Jimmy show. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Also, there's no date or year attached to this.
True.
So I think it's just the next step in exploring what you're doing with something.
I think this is better than saying the new Wonder Woman's coming out in 2027
with nothing attached to it.
Exactly. We don't have an actress yet. We don't have a script. We don't have a direction. We don't have any of that shit.
Yeah, this is here are these proven showrunners that anybody who knows likes. Here's this character that you guys just saw in a movie and was one of the most talked about characters afterwards, and you guys liked with an actor that we like. And we don't know when we're doing it, but this is a property we're working on, and that to me is a good way to go about it.
Let me tell you what I think is more egregious to the note. That you have a Clayface movie that's finished filming before you figured out your Batman and your Wonder Woman. That's more Jimmy show. Yeah, man, you've everything's ready to go. Do that. We're doing, and granted, apparently the script is great, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But that one's a little bit, as far as that note goes, of like you're doing this before this. The Clayface one is a little bit more egregious for me.
I think it's a really smart idea, actually, because I think it does differentiate what DC is doing in this next chapter. However, I do understand that, like, objectively speaking, if you said, Roxy, you're now running the DC, you're starting from scratch. Anything you want to do, what are your first 15 films? Like, what's the first 10 films? What are you putting out in the slate?
Yeah.
I think I very likely would do probably a Batman movie, a Superman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, maybe a Supergirl movie. That one makes more sense to me. An Aquaman movie, and then probably sequels to those movies, then maybe the third of those movies, and then put together some kind of a Justice League with maybe a Martian Manhunter movie, something like that. That would probably be about my journey. So I don't feel like we've that's a broken system. I think that's pretty easy to crack. But that's really not what I think they're doing some, like, we've talked about their Elseworlds projects. We've talked about their kind of trying to differentiate themselves. I have no issue with the Clayface one. Would it have been my pitch? Probably not.
Yeah, I think you and I are in the same boat where I think comparatively, you say what we would do is playing it safe. I'd be like, yeah, Superman, I'm Wonder Woman. I'm probably gonna have a conversation with Matt Reeves where I say, listen, man, you get to do whatever you want, but when we do a Justice League movie, Robert Pattinson's our Batman. Yeah. But I'm not gonna step on anything you're doing. Whatever. We'll play nice, and then we'll do a Lanterns TV show. And considering how the way TV show seasons work, like let's say Lanterns season 1 is 2026. The Flash, or we're gonna do a new Flash show instead of a movie on HBO, and that's going to be 2027. So Lantern season 1 is 2026, Flash season 1 is 2027, Lantern season 2 is 2028, and they're going to switch off years. But every year you're getting a new mainline DC character show. And then when stuff like, well, we clearly have something with this Jimmy, let's do something over there. You know what I mean? Like then you figure it out. So I'm not saying this is how I would do it. But I am saying I'm excited for that Jimmy show. Listen, man, if all I got out of this this whole James Gunn DCU is a solid, like, Superman connected universe, I'm not complaining, okay?
Totally. At least he's passionate about what he's doing right now. Like,
yes,
there does seem to be rhyme and reason and explanation for every choice that they're making. So I'm super into it. I loved Superman, so of course I'm feeling good about the choices right now.
Well, and also just to button on the Clayface comment that I made, I was baffled by the decision to do the Penguin as a show, and I ended up loving that show. So like
Yeah,
I'm
but I
willing to
think
eat
that you
crow
were
on it.
so in the right about that because I was too. We just thought it was going to be a Catwoman show. Like we just
They,
thought
they,
that was going to be
they
the
need to do
show.
one.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they need to do one, and that's another reason why I would push to keep that in universe is because you already have a great Batman, Penguin, Catwoman. Like you've already, it's so hard to like figure out what you're going to do with that, and somebody did it, and you're going to do it again. Why? Why do that to yourself? But anyway, listen, James Gunn hasn't called us up, so King of New York says X-Files style Martian Manhunter HBO show would be awesome. It would.
It really would.
If anybody reading the absolute Martian Manhunter run that's out right now, that is how they should do Martian Manhunter because it does such a good job of differentiating him from the other superheroes that are similar to him, like Superman. It's such a kick in the pants that character kind of needed to reinvigorate it, and it would make a great HBO show.
Do you think Martian Manhunter will be in Supergirl?
No, I would be surprised if we ever see Martian Manhunter.
Really?
Yeah, I would be surprised by that. I'm not, again, especially with Absolute. If the Absolute line is good, the only one that I would pull from for an ad, the only ones that I think work for this universe would be Martian Manhunter and the Flash. As far as like reinvigorating the character.
Who do you think, just as a brief aside, that we will see in Supergirl other than Supergirl?
Lobo. And then I think
Yeah, we
they're
know
pulling
Lobo.
so much from that one specific Tom King
Yeah.
comic that'll mostly be characters from that. And since I haven't read that comic, it'll be mostly characters that I don't know or
Superman?
recognize. Probably to the degree that we saw Supergirl in Superman, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little more back and forth. You know, the one that would interest me is because Jimmy and Supergirl have a long history in the comics.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in either having her show up in his show or him show up in her movie. But I think it's mostly going to be space stuff for her. And they might see Brainiac. If Brainiac is the villain of Man of Tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if either he's in a post-credit scene or something they do in the movie is what brings Brainiac into the Man of Tomorrow.
Crypto?
Yes, because Crypto's a big part of the comic, and we established that it's her dog
Yeah.
in Superman. So I would imagine, and also Crypto, I think, is a win. It feels like is a win for them as far as merchandising and marketing and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think Crypto definitely. We know we're getting Lobo.
But we know when she travels, she kind of ditches Crypto with Superman. So I don't know.
Good point. But I feel like we're going to get Crypto. But we'll see.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting.
Me too. I just thinking, just dreaming.
I like the director they got for it. I still need some more convincing on Supergirl. But I'm ready to be convinced. The one that I know we have on the slate that I'm most excited for is Lanterns, but we'll see.
When is that?
It was supposed to be early 2026. My understanding, like pre Supergirl. Now my understanding is I think it's supposed to be post Supergirl, and that bums me out. But hopefully it'll be real good. I'm hoping it's going to be real good. Let's go over to our main discussion. Well, that might have been our main discussion. It was a pretty meaty discussion. But let's talk about the other thing we want to talk about today, which is Pluribus. This is the new Vince Gilligan show on Apple TV Plus. For those that it says right there, if you're watching the videos from the creator of Breaking Bad. And the premise of Pluribus is in a world overtaken by a mysterious wave of forced happiness, Carol Sturka, the only person immune, must uncover what's really going on and save humanity from its own bliss. Light spoiler, she's not the only one. She's one of what, 11?
Where did you get that plot from?
IMDb.
I wonder if they put that up after the premiere because there was literally not even that extent of a explanation before.
Yeah, I didn't know anything going in watching it. And it was fortunate for me because it'd already been out for a few days by the time I watched it. So
I think Ray Seahorn I think I saw on THR this morning that she had to keep this plot 100% a secret, not one word about it for 3 years.
I guess because of writing and stuff like that.
From when she was pitched it to when she was, whatever, 3 years, not one word.
So there's going to be, if you want to be like me and not know anything going in, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Because we're going to give 3 episodes are out. I've only seen 2. Roxy's seen 3. We won't spoil 3 since as of this recording it just dropped. But I feel comfortable giving pretty much full spoilers for the first 2 episodes. So the premise is that
How are you going to say this?
Basically, there's a happiness virus. No, well, it's interesting. You're right, because there's a lot to unpack there. But essentially, and this is a great use of anybody that's watched Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul will know that Vince Gilligan loves process, loves how you get from point A to point B, and there's a lot of that in these 2 episodes. And the first one is, I think we're at SETI, and they get a signal from another solar system. And it's an alien signal, and they figure out I believe it's an RNA code, and they start experimenting with it. And those scientists in a sci-fi thing, they can't help but goof around in the lab, and one of them gets bit by the test rat, and then gets infected by whatever this is, we don't know yet. And then she proceeds to infect her lab mate, and it just spreads from there. And what we learn is that this virus, is what we're going to call it right now, makes you part of a collective consciousness, and they release it into, they aerosolize it, and they release it into the atmosphere, and so everybody is affected by it. Some people die during the process, and a handful of people, like Rhea Seehorn, are unaffected. And so now we're with 12, and now we're with Carol as she tries to process this new world. But one thing I wanted to talk with you about, Roxy, is there's a great sequence where, God, it's such a good show. Just in the first 2 episodes, I'm like way into this.
I know, me too.
But when she addresses anybody, she's addressing everybody. And eventually it's not the president, it's whoever was left in the line of succession that's still alive. I think it was agriculture or something. And she has to call him, and he says it's not alien. They're not aliens. They're humans, but now they're all connected. But she's clearly not communicating with all of human consciousness in one person, because that would be a much more violent, having been a human for almost 40 years. It would be a much more violent person. So It's clearly changed. It's all of human consciousness connected, with this added layer of we're really pleasant and chill, which I don't think is what would happen if you just fused everybody's brain together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So there is it is at this point another entity is the impression I
absolutely.
get. Yeah.
Absolutely. Going back to something you said earlier too, was your understanding that the virus killed some of these people, or was your understanding that when they got hit with the virus and then they passed out, some of them died due to injury? Like, for example, her girlfriend, who, these are full spoilers, who hits the deck, that maybe she had a brain bleed or something because she ended up dead.
I assumed yes, and I assumed some people, because she goes into the bar and you see some people bleeding out. I think some people, the effect of it, their body can't handle for whatever reason and die. And then one presumes planes crash. Like, we see the devastation. So some die by accident and some die by whatever the biological effects of the virus are on their body, was my understanding.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So you've seen 2 episodes. I've seen 3. You get to the end of episode 1, and how are you feeling?
On board, way on board. Well, here's the one thing I'll say, way on board, because again, it deals with a lot of, like, we see how we get the signal and how they experiment on, very much Vince Gilligan process stuff. How she gets her girlfriend to the hospital isn't just like she picks her up, cut to the hospital. It's a whole process of this tiny woman trying to pick up another woman and take her to the hospital. But the one thing that struck me, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this. Did you watch Last Man on Earth?
No.
Okay. It was a show I really enjoyed, but I remember watching the first couple episodes and being like, this feels like I don't see how this premise lasts past a season. And they did it for 4. You know what I mean? I felt this is great. Is this a mini series? Like, I don't know. And this isn't the question I should be asked. I should just be enjoying the ride. But I did wonder, is this a multi-season show? Because it just feels like I don't know how you keep going. But then, they kind of do the Good Place thing where it's like, here's our premise, and here's some new stuff, and here's some new stuff, and here's some new stuff. So in the second episode, we get introduced to, what is it, the 5 or 6 other people that speak English, so not the full
Right.
unaffected set. But in the first episode, great, on board, very intrigued, awesome Twilight Zone-y first episode. What about you?
I had the same thought that you did, and then I kind of let my mind wander to all of the questions I had that I wanted
Mm-hmm.
answers for, and that's what made me feel really confident that this show could run for a few seasons. Because immediately when you see it, you think to yourself, okay, so here are some possibilities. Number one, we stay like this. They need to try to repopulate the earth with the 12, or they do become part of the collective conscious, or is there a way to actually get some of the people in the collective conscious to now not be part of that?
Mm-hmm.
What did happen that these 12 were resistant to this?
Yeah.
What would building a new society look like? What would just living out like this look like? Now that we clearly have brought up in the first 2 episodes that while in her novel she's writing about a straight man,
Mm-hmm.
she is queer. What does that look like in this universe?
Yeah.
Just because somebody's part of a collective conscious, does that mean you can't have a relationship with them? Like, there was so many immediate questions. That's how I know a pilot is good. And the
Mm-hmm.
first 2 episodes, this really was like a double pilot because they aired 2 episodes together. And I think that was
Yeah.
really smart that they did that because it let us chew on a little bit more. But when you watch something and you're like, I actually need to get some answers to this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, how did this get here? How much further could it spread? If they aren't aliens, then like you said, so why is everybody so helpful? Because that's
Yeah.
not how people be all the
Mm-hmm.
time. What could they get done? And the question that I asked when I started the Purge movies, which I'm sure the answer is no, is like it was with the Purge movies, is this actually better?
Yeah.
Could this actually be the right way to go? Like, everybody seems to be doing a really great job. No crime, no whatever. So is this better for the environment? Is this better for people? And then immediately coming to like, no, of course not, for XYZ reason. So I
Yeah.
think that was such a great first showing for this because I cared so much, and we only have really one character to care about in the first
Yeah.
episode. And I was like, well, it's Ray Seahorn, so I do care.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. She is fantastic. And then in the second episode, we meet some of the other survivors. And I think that's the only, I want to spend more time in future episodes dealing with that. Because the one thing that rang a little false to me was everybody else seems like chill about it. And I'm like, there'd be some one of these other people would be, and maybe I'm just projecting because we have a question from Mike Joyce. How would you react if you were in Carol's situation? I'd be Carol. I'd be pissed as fuck.
too.
I'd be like,
Episode 3 will help you.
okay, yeah, because she runs into another, when she's in the group, there's a woman, I think she's supposed to be from India, and her family's with her. And she's like, no, what are you talking about? They took my family away. They're right here. I'm like, no, they're not. Like,
This is my son. They're in denial.
yeah, and it's like I would immediately be like, no, give me my family back. And I appreciate you saying episode 3 because it's as you talk about these questions. Like, I was worried at first they do the mystery box thing where like the agriculture guys like, do you have any other questions? And they'd like wouldn't give us an answer. And she asked the question you asked, like, what the fuck is happening? Like, tell me, just explain it to me. What's going on? And so I was like, God, good, awesome. And they're aware of the implications of stuff. Like, one that I would like to see them unpack more is we run into a guy that's kind of using when he is flying in to meet everybody, he takes Air Force One and he's kind of living like a king.
Love that character. I think that's very realistic.
100%. And one thing, and he's one of those like, this seems great to me. And it's like, yeah, dude, because right now they're treating us, these people that are not infected, like royalty.
Right.
Soon we'll just be one of them.
Right.
That you're in a privileged position right now that is not going to last forever. And also he's got like this harem of women, and I guess you're right, it's realistic, but it's shocking to me that like, I would immediately be like, no, that's like me having sex with every person on. That's weird. I don't know. I don't want every person on the planet to know my game. Like I don't.
I agree, but how realistic is it? Because really what we're dealing with is these 12 survivors are the 1%, and obviously here it's a way smaller percentage than that, the
Yes.
0.00001%.
Yeah.
But when it is so realistic that when you are part of that, you don't want to lose that.
Hmm.
You're not looking for solutions.
Yeah.
Even if, think about this, DJ, our current Earth, this planet
Yeah.
is dying. It's
Hmm. Hmm.
dying.
Yeah.
Same thing with their world.
Yeah.
Do you think that the top 1% of billionaires, that's their main concern? Because it's
Yeah.
not.
No.
And
100%
it's
not.
how they're living and what things look like for them. This woman's son, who is now not her son, guess what
Hmm.
he's doing? Being obedient, being
Hmm.
friendly, and looks
Yeah.
like her son. So I do think it is realistic that 5 other people, and it wasn't really 5 other people because there were 2 of the people that were like, so what should we do about? They just seemed kind of
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to do here. And
There
then
was a
there were
couple on the
people
fence,
who,
and then there was one that was like, "No, I want to join." And I'm like, "That does make sense to me because you want to be with wherever your family is."
she
You
was like,
know?
no, you're just young. And it was like, oh, that's not a good response. Have you ever
Mm-mm.
tried to deal with a young person before? That never works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was good variety, but I think episode 3 will help. I don't want to give you any spoilers, but it's not a huge part of the episode, but we are learning more about the non-English speakers.
Cool. Oh, cool. The outside of the ones we just met, or like
Right. So
other.
episode
Very cool.
3, we learn a little bit more about the other people, like a little bit more. And
Cool.
it does seem like what your concern is and what my concern is, because I'm with you. I would be Carol in a heartbeat. I'd be like, this is a fucking nightmare. Get me the fuck out of here. How do we fix
Yeah.
this? Where are the doctors? Where are the scientists? What are we doing?
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't seem like she's alone in that.
Cool. 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 Very cool. I do want to go with Mike Joy's question to you. Oh, so you just answered. We both be like Carol. Like, wait, no, time out.
Well, just absolutely not. My whole life is my people.
Yeah.
So what, like, people and strangers, so people in general, there's nothing more important to me than that. And like you're talking about with the harem thing, I think that I would have the same response as Carol. Like, this woman's like, I can't make a decision of who I go with because that would make one of you sad. And it's like, oh my God, so this is slavery.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And like, I don't know if it's better if I take you because then it's still slavery, but at least I'm not forcing you to have sex with me. So maybe that's better.
Yep.
Like, nightmare. I mean, this is my actual hell. Hell.
It's cool, and it's cool too. It's great to have something like this and be in hands that you're confident with. That like, okay, so Vince Gilligan's aware of these questions, and you get the sense that they'll explore these every angle. We'll use every part of the animal. We're going to explore every angle of like what it would be like to be in a situation like this. And it's such a great way to do an alien invasion premise that they don't show up, they send us a signal, and then we're so dumb we start dicking around with we're just like, yeah, let's just, because we'd just be like, yeah, let's make this thing. What's the worst that could happen?
Totally. I
Why
like
would they?
the device they use, that clock, because that helps keep us in place too.
Yeah.
So
It's great.
Very
It's
simple. Yeah.
And even the introduction of, I just brought her up, the character where I'm at in the show, we refer to as Pirate Lady, who's kind of like Carol's handler functionally. The whole setup that's some great Vince Gilligan shit where she's here. They use the fact that they're all sharing one consciousness, like she's doing a thing, and then like, actually you're not best utilized here, so a guy comes up and replaces her, and then she flies all the way to where Carol is. It's a great sequence. It's a good show. Vince Gilligan good at TV. Everybody's good in it.
I'm curious, what do you think about this, DJ? Do you think that people are going to struggle with this is Vince Gilligan's follow-up because
Yes,
it's very, very different? And if you're looking for a Breaking Bad spinoff, this is certainly not it.
yes, I do think some will want. Just like I remember for a long time, people may be like, that's a weird example, but I know for a long time, people be like, I don't know, Quentin Tarantino hasn't made a good movie since Pulp Fiction, and it's like, what? Just because they're not all crime movies with guys in suits, like what does that mean? I would imagine it's the same. And I love Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I think they're fantastic. But this is also great, and it's cool to see him stretch his wings. And he got to start on X-Files, so it's cool to see him like circle back to like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I this is the kind of show that I can tell early on, if done well, which I have to assume it will be done well because in Vince we trust,
Yeah.
this will be a top 10 show of the year for me. Just
Same.
the premise has me by the throat. I love Ray, and I think that the questions I'm going to continue to ask myself, I believe that he is asking and going to give answers for, and that's like so important, as opposed to what happened with Lost, which is still an amazing show that I love, but like where they have straight up come out and been like, we had no idea where we were going, and we just kept asking questions that we didn't know the answers to, and it's like
Cool. Cool.
that was
Also,
an issue.
it's worth mentioning the show's very funny.
Yeah.
It's like very funny.
Yeah, she's funny. She's got like a dark sense of humor. I like her character a lot. She's also not, and none of the people that we've met so far that still have their own minds, they didn't pick like the perfect people. They picked flawed, unique people. So I'm glad we're spending time with her, and she's not, because we have so many savior complex people that are just like, Paul Atreides like or whatever. This is her nightmare because this is not. She's writing romance novels.
Yeah.
And doing that because she's successful at it, not because she's passionate about it. Like this is not. She did not ask for this. She's not ready to Luke Skywalker this moment.
Exactly. Very cool. If you guys want to hear us keep talking about the show, check out what we're into over on patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. That's where we normally do our like catch up on stuff. Like I mentioned, talking about this week, we're talking about Predator Badlands. Roxy going to tell me how she felt about I Love LA. But Roxy, as we're wrapping up, where can the kids find what you're working on?
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer. Wednesdays and Sundays, I'm live on my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roxy Stryer. We talk more television, but we also talk more personal things, politics, dating, etc.
Very cool. Check that out. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash every place that matters, including my own personal channel where I do stuff like Retroversity and Trash Talk. Also, again, I want to thank everybody that backed the Graveyard Shift. If you missed it, stay tuned. We'll put up a pre-order store and you can grab a copy there. But it wouldn't have been able to without the people that backed it on Kickstarter. So thanks to all those people. And I want to thanks to everybody that joined us live, and we'll see you next time.